Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3D Hangouts. Today is September 18th, and I'm your host, Matt Griffin, coming to you live from the heart of the Adafruit factory here in New York City. With me, as always, Noe Pedro in Adafruit South. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. Hey, Matt. How you doing? I'm Noe Ruiz, designer at Adafruit, and joining me is Pedro.
Hey, guys. I'm a creative technologist here at Adafruit, and welcome to the show, everyone.
Yay, we got a lot of stuff for you today. So, Matt, why don't you go ahead and tell us.
Well, we get together we get together every week here to hang out with you, to share the latest in 3D news, projects from the Adafruit Workbench, designs from the community, and other resources to help you make better 3D printed projects with electronics. And let's launch into what types of things we have in the show today.
Right on. We have What Are You Prototyping? It's our first segment.
So we're going to look at the 3D news.
We have some weekly video featuring original Adafruit projects.
We'll go into layer by layer and find out how to build the project.
A community spotlight.
All this and more on 3D Thursday Hangouts.
Yeah. So Matt, let's go ahead and jump into what are we prototyping.
Definitely. I've been spending every waking moment that I'm not here at Adafruit getting ready for 2 talks this weekend. So make sure if you're at Maker Faire and you're interested in the topics of design and 3D printing, to check out my talk on Saturday that is sharing about the various modes of design. Things like if you think about the kind of design you would, kind of tactics you'd use in CAD or solid modeling versus 3D animation. That talk will be on Saturday. And on Sunday, I'll be sharing 2 short field guides, one about 3D printing in food, and the other about 3D and medicine.
Very, very cool. Looking forward to it.
Delicious.
What have you guys been prototyping over there?
Sure. So last week we made a ray gun, and this week, oh my God, we have ammo. 50 caliber bullets. No, this is a future project in collaboration with Becky Stern, our director of wearable electronics. And the idea here is to make like a series of these bullets. So they're going to go over this NeoPixel strip with awesome code by Phil B.
Right. So it acts as a diffuser.
It acts as a diffuser, and it's sort of a small piece, right? The idea is to make a whole set of these things to make sort of an arrangement of it. And have these little holes so you can sew them into a sash or something else, and the details came out really nice in Ninja Flex. I like how stretchy it all is. Looks dangerous, but not.
That's right.
And Pedro, why don't you show us some more freshness? What is this?
All right, we're doing another collaboration with X-Robots' James Bruton. So it is an Iron Man sort of arc reactor here, Unibeam. It's going to go onto the chest plate. It's going to go onto his massive Iron Man-inspired Hulkbuster suit. So be sure to be on the lookout for that.
Very cool. Thank you.
Well, we've got a lot of interesting news today, so I think we should sort of dive into it, because we want to get a chance to talk a little bit about MakerCon and Maker Faire at the end of this. So,
great news.
A couple of things I wanted to share about. First, the Enable community. So, there is an upcoming conference at Johns Hopkins September 28th, coming up really fast. And there's a community project currently happening right now that if you have a 3D printer, you can dive into and participate with right now. Essentially, this interesting design here is being printed, I think, around 100 times by the whole community and being sent in and put together. It's a very neat project. In a related world, we have the final complete We the Builders Ben Franklinstein, another crowdsourced project that just wrapped up, while the Enable project is sort of really catching steam right now. So all of the parts have now been sent in and printed and assembled, and we now have the final model up. a bunch of the people who were watching the show and chatting with us over the last couple of months have participated in this, so they have pieces in there. And if they're at World Maker Faire, they'll get a chance to see it because they're bringing the statue.
So cool.
But before we jump to some of the news related to MakerCon and Maker Faire, I wanted to point out this neat project. So there's a lot of interest in 3D printing in games. We're going to talk about that a lot more later in this show. Here's a neat project where Jenny Chang used photogrammetry, the same kind of scanning tools that you would use to 3D scan an object by walking around it, taking lots of photos, and using software to then find all the edges and sort of line it up. So she used this inside a virtual environment. And the thing is, these virtual environments that are designed to be very realistic and have pretty good optical and like physics engine elements, it works. So she was able to jump into this next-gen game that she was just testing out. There are no downloadable assets. There's no way she could have extracted a 3D shape. But she got something pretty great. So it's a sort of a neat project. So
Photocopier.
now I wanted to chat with you guys about MakerCon and Maker Faire and the kind of things that you're excited about that's coming out and happening right now. It's a very busy time in 3D.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Probably the biggest announcement that turned our heads and our eyebrows up is a new 3D printer announcement from Dremel, the people who make, well, Dremel.
Yeah, so it's definitely gone mainstream now with this. They're making it seem like this is what it is. It's a tool. It's just like a hammer, or, as a lot of makers are used to, a Dremel here.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how some of the things from Dremel, like maybe they come up with an ecosystem or something like the Easy Lock sort of things. This morning, I believe FlashForge.
Yeah, it was announced that it's FlashForge who's making these, and reviews have come in that
they created it in partnership with FlashForge, and it's sort of interesting. They found FlashForge, the team there are acting as their Chinese manufacturer for this. Mm-hmm. So they're able to get this in at a low price point and sort of lean on the work they have done there, including switching to different types of processors and for running those systems.
Yeah, and the software is they're using Autodesk stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Popping up in all kinds of big box stores, like you guys were mentioning, mm-hmm. and it's going to be interesting to see what's different from Dremel as far as they have the expertise in all the rotary tools, and most people expected they were about to announce doing a CNC project. They went this route. I think it's going to be a very interesting project.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you could definitely add a rotary attachment to that and make it into a CNC maybe down the road. But yeah, I like how people talking about FlashForge. It's a great replacement for the Replicator 2 or Rep 1 and even the 2X. They've done a really good job of cloning that and adding some additional updates to it. So very happy to hear that.
Totally. Another really cool announcement was from Inventables. This is more on the software-related side. So I got a little time in the morning to play around with Easel, which is a browser-based designer tool for CNC machines. And this is really revolutionary stuff. For anyone who's worked with software and designing software, this is such a refreshing approach to design. So here I was able to import our Adafruit logo as a SVG file. And they have a couple little bit of tools like some text, and it's all very dynamic and fast using HTML5. And real quick, I'm just going to kind of run through and show you. You can do little bits of details. It looks like it's you can change the depth of the cut, so you can fine tune it how you want. And the preview looks really nice. It's really high quality, like that. And then it looks like you got tons of different materials to choose from to get a sort of preview of what it's going to look like. And then they have built-in little artwork, so like shapes, a little one-up. And another cool thing is that you can sort of see to get a visual of the tool path. You can see what it's going to look like when the machine cuts and carves everything out. And when you're done and you're happy with your thing, you just hit carve at the top right up there. And if I had the CNC machine, it would be really cool.
Yeah, while this kind of design software is popping up more and more for like online little design widgets for 3D printing and sticker cutting, T-shirt design, this kind of thing, this has not really been available for CNC. And to do such a great job of making it so easy to use in a world where most people are trying to figure out how they can get to use like Mastercam or tools like that that are prohibitively expensive and extremely eccentric and unusual how they function. This is going to really change things for the world of CNC and cutting things. And there's going to be, I think, a lot of exchange back and forth with 3D printing.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets more UI designers to jump on the board of.
It's already pretty clean. I really like how intuitive it is. I encourage you to check it out. It's easel.com.
Yeah. So we have Maker Faire happening here in New York this weekend. I know you guys are down in Florida, so you can't come to this one. But what are some things that you've been hearing about that you're particularly excited about that you wish you could go see?
I think mostly whatever hasn't been announced yet. There's always things that
the thing everybody else is talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I have a little bit of a right here. I've been collecting some of the projects I've been hearing are really neat at Maker Faire, emphasizing makers over vendors. There's some really interesting vendors that are not on this list. So I encourage you to go to the blog and check this out and click and see some of these projects there. A couple to pick out of here. Well, a little bit earlier we talked about going to see the Ben Frankenstein. You can find out details there. And under 3D printed jewelry and giant 3D printed sculpture. There's some really neat individual projects. Here's a light-up dog collar project. It would be really neat to see. A wearable printed in flexible filament.
Nice.
Here's a machined clock I'm really curious about. That was sort of a labor of love to make a working clock and find some mechanical solutions.
Very cool.
So take a look at this list, and there's some great talks on here too, including behind the scenes for the Print the Legend film, and which is a documentary, feature-length documentary about 3D printing, and also there's a sneak preview of the 3D printer shootout from this year. Taking place at the Make Live stage. It'd be fun if you want to go and see more about the 3D printers that came out this year.
Very cool. We'll be sure to try to tune in live. There's always a great live feed, so we'll be in there by spirit.
Yes. Yeah, keep it
Excellent. So I'd love to see the project that you guys are sharing today.
Sure, everybody. This is we're going to debut our project now. This is an epic project for cosplayers that are looking to sort of take their projects to the next level with soft circuits and DIY electronics and, of course, 3D printing.
That's right. This is Cortana from Halo, a full bodysuit featuring Sobo NeoPixels.
That's right. This is a collaboration project with Becky Stern, our director of wearable electronics. She approached this project by sewing NeoPixels to a Spanx instead of the spandex.
That's right. I put together a mock-up of the circuit diagram, and Becky went to work on mocking up the layout. She's setting it up here.
Yeah, and you definitely want to check out the guide on the Adafruit Learning System if you're interested in learning more about conductive thread and Sobo NeoPixels. Pedro, what is
Right, she's using some silicone-coated wires here for the circuits when you're crossing the wires.
That's right, and NeoPixels are basically chainable LEDs that share power, data, and ground connections.
The stretchy fabric is very challenging. I mean, when you're using it, you got to make sure that you avoid tears, and this is ideal for advanced sewing project.
Yeah, and we have some great demo code on the guides to get you started, and we also have a lot of libraries and sketches.
That's right. So we're using some reference photos here to trace the artwork inside of Photoshop. I laid out the design inside of Illustrator to get the dimensions, and then imported it into 123 Design to make the stencils.
And man, the Lulzbot can print really big things, so we're taking advantage of the full size here.
So we'll mark up the LED NeoPixels here on the unitard for reference, and then apply the stretch, the stencil to paint the spray paint the artwork onto the unitard here.
Yeah, spray paint really makes those details stand out.
So the blue unitard spandex is worn over the Spanx in the bodysuit, and you can stretch it and line it up to the artwork in the NeoPixels.
And the final result is a very, very cool, epic wearable project.
Give a shout out to my wife here, who is modeling the Cortana, and our next door neighbor who had the Halo costume there.
Yeah, and it was her idea too. It was really cool. So we'll just jump right into layer by layer.
Yeah, that's right. So the Cortana character has a PCB-like circuitry design that we wanted to make light up. We've seen a lot of people make the Cortana costume before, and we thought that they could update it by simply adding some NeoPixels to it. So here we're just doing the we're tracing the vector paths inside of Photoshop here.
That's right, and then you brought it into Illustrator to sort of get more of a real measurement, because you were able to measure the torso and the lower abs to get a sort of a base measurement.
Yeah, so we're using like a 29 by 29 centimeter square here to add all of the big parts there. Well, we split it into 3 parts, and then to fit up on the Lulzbot Task 4.
Sure. To import the SVGs into Illustrator is pretty straightforward, but there's some little tips that Pedro found out while doing this.
Yeah, so we'll use solids to bridge the gaps to avoid stranded pieces here. As you can see, it's a little tough to visualize like a manifold stencil design. As you can see, some of the details here just floating in the air. They're not attached to the main stencil artwork. So what we can do here is, instead of jumping back into Illustrator and editing our paths, we can stay inside 123D and simply just grab some of the faces here. See, I'm just clicking the ones that are closest to the edge, and we're going to use our press and pull function and simply just grab these and pull them and stretch them out past their boundary points. If you let go, you can see here that we sort of open up the gaps there. And for the details inside the circles here, we can connect everything by just making a rectangle here. And
it's like a bridge.
Like a little bridge that will connect it to the rest of the stencil. So when we do the Boolean on that, you can see that all the circles are still there. And then we can do the next Boolean on the entire square. And now you can see that everything is now connected to the rest of the stencil.
All right. And thickness has played a big role into this. I mean, we were expecting higher quality from the thicker stuff, but it turns out that the thinner print was actually better.
That's right. The thinner stencil was able to lay more flat up against the fabric there.
Cool.
So it was able to provide a more detailed, or a more fine line detail around all of this area there. The thicker ones
sort of diffuses the paint, didn't it?
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit fuzzier just because of how much higher it is. So it's sort of blocking some of the spray that's coming out. And you can see here some of the stencils are pretty big. You could do this with cardboard, but it'd be difficult to get some of the finer little small detail on there. And plus, a lot of people who have made the Cortana costume have used paint and tape to sort of mask all that. And you can't really do an easy mirror when you're using pieces of tape. You can mess up and smear, totally ruining your whole unitard.
Another big benefit from just making it with 3D printing is it's more durable. It's going to last a long time. You're going to be able to reuse it over and over and over again.
That's right.
So pretty cool.
There's some of the tips and tricks and uses for making 3D stencils on your next Halloween costume.
Again, be sure to check out our guide on the Adafruit Learning System for more goodness on conductive thread and sewing and, of course, printing.
Yeah, all the SVGs are available on our Thingiverse page. You can get all the downloads there.
Yeah, big shout out to Becky Stern, too, who was awesome on this project.
Yeah,
very challenging stuff, but man,
sewing pixel on stretchy fabric is a big deal.
Yeah, you really can't hide hide the work. So you have to get really precise solutions.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that. Yeah. So wanted to jump in and pick up on the theme of sharing about games and love of game art, and share a couple of 3D printed games projects that we found interesting.
Totally. The first one is a laser pistol from Fallout. This is from Thingiverse user Dragonator. And he put together this really detailed laser pistol, and the really cool thing about it is it's functional. It's got a working laser. All the paint stuff, and it's sort of weathered and has a lot of finishing to it. Here's the functioning laser, because I could. This is another really cool thing I like about this build is that not just that it has a laser, but he found a really clever way to put the batteries into it. So check it out here. These little energy cells. Those are the Duracell batteries. That is really, really cool. So you can download this and print this at home. This was designed and built by Y. D. Haas, or his handle is Dragonator. And then another cool story is from a game studio that's coming out with a new game called Evolve. They came up with a campaign to sort of let fans download and 3D print characters from the game. So this is a really cool sort of approach to marketing with 3D printing and getting people hyped up about a new game. And real quick, I want to show you that we actually printed one of the main sort of monster demons from the game. It's a really high quality print. It has lots of details, and we still have support material on it, and it was printed on the TAS 4 with Simplify 3D, and all this is sort of generated support material.
Yeah, so they did a great job of providing what looks like it's one of the models straight from the game.
Yeah, they did a good job on optimizing it for printing, and yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, but a lot of companies have attempted to kind of play around with this space and offer downloadables that you either purchase, you download for free, or you win them. But it seems like these guys are doing a really good job of making the right kind of stuff to attract the folks who might be interested in 3D printers. And another project that's out right now, the new film from the studio that did Coraline, Leica, they have released a bunch of models you can print out from their movie that's launching next week.
The Box Trolls.
The Box Trolls.
Cool.
Though they opted for, I think, designing sort of new, a little bit more simplified models designed to print on consumer equipment. Whereas this model, looking at it, it seems very high-res.
Yeah, it looks like it's just for the model. Yeah, I'd love to see more companies doing more of a design that's for 3D printing that has articulating arms and things like that.
Think about game models is that they're rigged, so this is optimized as it's gonna get.
Yeah, I mean
you can do sort of like low poly export.
Yeah,
but
I mean you
why?
would have to
When
you would have to
print
edit
out
the arms to make them articulate. So yeah, I see the problems there with it.
Good stuff, guys.
Well, so the world of games is a massive one. Many definitions of it. I wanted to kind of leap through a couple of fun ways that people are using 3D printers to play around with games. So there are a bunch of interesting board games, including many chess sets. It's kind of a classic design approach, and this set is actually a recreation of one that no longer exists. So it's sort of exciting. It's project that Pete Prodl shared with me, the Ready Makes art project, Marcel Duchamp's chess set, which is lost, and they recreate it from some images. There's a lot of people on Thingiverse and other 3D sharing sites who are really big fans of some of the new classic board games like Settlers of Catan and Carcassonne, and there's a bunch of sets. This is a gorgeous Settlers of Catan set. They're just made for people who love that game.
Very cool.
Here's a board game that was modeled by Simon, the Troke classic board game. And this is a game that no longer exists, but one that he thought was really cool, and out to the people who, he created the original one. And he recreated this so we could sort of enjoy this and share this with people. And here is a game it's actually a little math game that has been transformed with Zombie Apocalypse. It was a version of a Hare and Hounds, sort of a classic game that is a math puzzle. So another approach that people use 3D printing in games are making their own sort of consoles. Now, we've had a chance to share some really great ones that Noe and Pedro have done. Here's some other ones that from the past that kind of inspired us. Like Nintastic is really a neat model. You can go on the blog and find this and go learn more. There's quite a few resources for how to source the various electronics and sort of file tricks to make it operate the way they're excited about. I know that you guys had seen this and shared this on the blog a couple of months ago. I don't know if you ever got a chance to make one, but it seems like a pretty neat model.
Yeah, it does. I'm sure there's probably a few makes on Thingiverse.
Yeah, I like the way where the little cartridge go into the
Yeah,
SD card.
so nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Here's a character from MakerBot. They're one of their Ouya cases that they released. They released a whole set so anybody could design their own case. And they made a character that also includes the console. This is just a cute miniature tribute to console. We had shared about this before. I just thought it'd be fun to share it again here.
It's so good.
So there's so many different directions from fan art to making things that are practically useful to making accessories that you can use for existing either like a video game system for all the electronics or a board game, things to hold cards and manage the various parts. It's quite an active world in 3D.
Very cool.
Yeah. So let's see. Did want to share one more.
But wait, there's one more thing.
Well, I just want to. I mean, this is something. I know that you guys have made some really neat stuff with classic Nintendo stuff.
Bob-omb.
Here's a Kleenex holder, Bob-omb.
So cute and clever and creative.
Yeah. And you guys have created some things with that character before, right?
Yeah, totally. We'll have to share that on a separate show. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was just sort of a fun piece. 3D printing out all the set pieces to sort of recreate like a diorama, a little kind of shadow box version of classic 8-bit, and going earlier to these Atari pieces.
Great.
You can find these all over.
Oh, nice.
And this is a classic Thwomp.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nintendo World stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Great. So that's just a little taste of what's out there. Take a look at some of the stuff we shared on the blog today to get some more ideas and share some more things that you're interested in.
Yeah, please do.
So that's going to be the show for today. So thank you all for joining. And remember that even though the 3D Hangout is wrapping up, there's still tons of stuff on the blog today to enjoy. And also, there are other resources.
Yeah, totally. Please do check out our guide on the Adafruit Learning System to learn more about this week's project and other projects.
That's right. And if you have anything cool that you've 3D printed, please share with us on every Wednesday, 7 o'clock or 7:30 on Show and Tell. Find out there by going to plus.google.com +Adafruit.
Right. And also, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Thingiverse to get behind-the-scenes look at what we're working on.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Until then, we'll keep on printing.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.